Yeah, you all are tuned in once again to another episode of Just Got High with your boy Optimo Ram, where we talk to all the people in the Oregon Cannabis Industry about what's really going on, the people really doing it, the people with their feet on the ground and their hands in the pot, And today we're here with one of my favorite people in this industry, and I like to remind everybody, not everybody smokes weed. So we didn't get high right before this episode, but that's okay because I got high before we even started the episode, before we even thought about it. So that's all right. And this person I brought today is one of the people I respect most in this industry because they are able to take a business that is insane and put some sense of organization to it and taking all these different brands and delivering and providing this product to the people, which after doing it myself for a while, I realized was one of the hardest things in this industry to do because you have to be organized, you have to be well prepared, and it's probably better not to be that high before you're doing this part of the job. So with that being said, I'm very thrilled to be welcoming Miss Leiann Stevenson of the Dub Wholesale today. How are you doing, Leiann?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Welcome to this crazy show we have going on. And I'm thrilled. Thank you very much for being here with us. And I couldn't be happy to have you. I couldn't think of anybody when we started the show. I was like making a list of people that I wanted to interview. And you really were like one of the top 3 people that popped up. I was like, it'd be cool to talk to Leiann and get her perspective because, I want to say like all of us, guys are all the same. We're just a bunch of stoner dudes, but the last 4 episodes have been a bunch of my buddies that we work with. We all, I want to say we're all similar minded, but we're all, in this, we all get really high, and so it's nice to talk to somebody with a different perspective and a different, you what I really like about you, Leiann, is I didn't think that you'd be in the cannabis industry if I met you, but I think that that's a benefit towards, you know what I mean? That's something you have, it's like when you're not expecting somebody and then they show you, you know what I mean? It's like yeah, you got the skills, Leiann, and it's cool to watch. So let's talk a little bit about the Dub Wholesale. What exactly is the Dub?
Well, the Dub is a distribution company. So basically think wine distribution, think beer distribution. So we work with about, 65 to 70 brands, and we sell product. We have a sales team that sells about 25 brands. And then the other half of the business is we are the fulfillment. So we store, we fulfill, we pull product, we make sure the dispensaries get what they ordered.
That's awesome. And what I really like about that, and that's what turned me on to your company in the beginning, because, as a processor, I've discussed with so many different types of wholesalers and distributors in the past, but everybody wants, to be like your salesperson and do all this and then take a percentage, which you all do offer. But then what I thought was so smart that y'all didn't, I hadn't heard of anybody doing it until y'all started it. And I know a couple people do it too, but like the way y'all do it is so dope for the storage and delivery. So like our lab being in Medford, I was coming up to Portland every single week. And then I wish I'd found out about you a long time ago. And, I found out, the Dub, oh no, they do these, this flat rate delivery fee, if you just want to store your stuff with them and they'll just deliver it for you if you want to take care of the order. I was like, what? I was like, that is insane. And then I came down to your facility and saw what y'all had going on, and I was just so impressed, and the again, the organization and the, the attention to detail that is so important that somebody like myself, that's not really my level of expertise, and I know, Leiann, but
it's fun. But to be honest, in 2015, when it was presented to me as something that potentially could be done in a brand new industry, and I thought, I'm so bored. I've been doing the same thing for so long. How fun would that be? But to your point, I know I don't look like or act like I'm in the industry. So I actually started doing my due diligence to see if the industry would accept me.
Yeah.
And because that was really important.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually lost folks in the beginning because I didn't smoke.
Yeah.
And they felt, oh no, she's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that 90% of those brands work with us today.
Yeah. They've come back and they realize they bounce around. Yeah. Cause as much as, I know how it is, and especially in the Oregon scene where we're very like close knit, and they're like, oh, if you're not one of us, we don't want to
Mhm.
work with you. So there is a lot of that. Then you have to be careful. And me, as soon as I open my mouth, people can tell I'm not born and raised from out here. And they're like, where you come from, man? Because you sound country, so I get it. And you do have to kind of tread lightly. And I think that the product that you all do speaks for itself by the
Thank
quality of
you.
work that y'all do, and I mean, just being so organized, it just blows my mind. So how did you get all this going? So you're saying you had some background in distribution prior to this?
Not really.
That's good.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's logistics is
Hmm.
logistics, but I came from the finance and energy worlds, is really my background. So came from two highly regulated
Yeah.
industries. And so the regulation piece and the rule following came very naturally. The majority of my background actually is on the human resources side. So I was approached by a friend in 2015. He wanted to open distribution. He had background in restaurants and bars, and he wanted to be front of house. And I was very comfortable on the operations side
Yeah.
because operations is my game. And so at first I thought, oh, how fun. I'm going to watch you. This is going to be exciting. And he says, no, no, I want you to join me. So we did it. And at the end of the day, the industry wasn't the right fit for him. And so I was lucky enough to be able to keep moving forward and have survived since, we licensed in 2017 and have had amazing partnerships with amazing brands and, have kind of built little by little.
It's so cool. Yeah. And I remember going into your facility a while ago, and it was like down in the basement, and now y'all have upgraded to even bigger space with huge amounts of space and storage for, people like myself and all the different farms and people across the state that utilize your service. And it's very cool to see. I get to come in there, and y'all have a really cool a design too, with a bunch of graffiti in there too. I really think that's pretty badass. Yeah, it's cool looking.
Do you know what street art
Mhm.
is cool?
It is.
But when in the very beginning, we began to do white label pre-rolls, and it was before anybody else was really doing them. So we were just white labeling them and, getting them out compliantly to the different dispensaries. And one of our pre-rollers, it turned out he's actually a quite famous street artist. And he was doodling one day, and we asked, would you be able to design our logo? And so the Dub, the logo is designed by a street artist. And then when we did, we're able to expand. And I asked him, I said, hey, Ryan, are you willing to do a mural in here? And he goes, sure. What do you want? I said, you decide. You decide. Just do it.
Nice.
And we had the most beautiful, I mean, he just has done extraordinary things. And he said to me, Leiann, did you ever think you would have graffiti on your walls? And yet I think it's just awesome. It's beautiful.
It is. That's cool. It is. It gives it. I love the vibe there, and your whole staff and crew, and it speaks. As one of your employees always tells me, the fish stinks from the head down whenever I mess up. And she's like, I'm like mad about something about my company, and she's like, oh, the fish stinks from the head down. I'm like, oh, I know, but your fish doesn't stink. It's a very good. I mean, it's a well-run organization, and you have, like we were talking about, you really do have two parts. You have one side for sales and another side that does the storage and delivery. And so what are the difference between the two of those? Or like, and where do they, because you need both, but I mean, they work kind
Well, the
of
company
together.
started as strictly sales,
Hmm.
just typical distribution. And I remember when we first came in, he goes, how difficult can this be? You acquire it on one end and you sell it on the other and you keep a commission. How
Hmm.
complicated can that be? And I was silly enough to think, oh, that's not very
Yeah.
complicated. And it wasn't in the beginning. In 2017, everybody was fresh. We were licensed in January 2017. But by the middle to late 2017, the realities of working within the OLCC and all the regulations, and not all companies came from a business background,
Yeah.
and then trying to segue, one way of doing business into another, into a more regulated, quote unquote normal, which still isn't normal, but it was hard. And like many companies in that time frame, we weren't sure how we were going to stay in business because it was just so difficult.
Hmm.
And a brand, Open Vape, called us and then Synergy Skinworks called us, and then Dirty Arm Farm called us, and all of them within about 2 months. And they simply asked, would you be able to deliver our product to the dispensaries if we had it in-house? And my immediate response was yes. And then we figured out how to do it.
Yeah. Yes first, and then we'll figure out the details later.
And that side of our house has literally grown organically by referral only.
Yeah.
And so now we work, with I think 38 amazing brands on that side of the house.
It's so crazy. It's a lot.
Including funk extracts.
Yeah, we love working with the Dub. It really is. I like to, when I go out there and just tell everybody what a great job. When I like somebody and I like the way they do things, I just can't stop talking about it. I'm like, yo, you should try it out.
Well, we have some referrals from you. So
nice. Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. I will say this. It is very SOP driven. It's boring. It's not sexy.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about cannabis, no one thinks about kind of the logistics side of it.
It's so important.
And so someone said, well, Leiann, no one knows who you are. And I said, they know the Dub.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
That's what matters. And it's sometimes that's probably a better thing. I'm a person who they know Ramsey and then Funk, and so I got to be careful with what I do because whatever I do affects my business. And I've never been able to do that in my life. I've always been one of those people who just kind of sticks out. I never can like operate in the shadows and stuff, but like anything I have to be more careful because anything that my smart mouth says or does affects my business. And I've always tried to figure out how do I like just have this business and like nobody knows who I am, but it doesn't work for me.
Yeah. I don't know how many brands now are in Oregon, but I think that everybody runs their business differently. Mm-hmm. And so you have growers who don't really want to leave their farm.
Yeah.
They just don't. It's not their thing. They don't want to have the hassle of a sales team. So then you hire, basically what we perceive ourselves as a grower direct type of sales team because we work with very craft, brands. We don't work, we're very careful about how we curate our menu on that side.
Yeah.
We're very particular about who we work with. And it helps and it makes a difference. And we know we're helping a grower or we're helping a brand because they don't want to do it or don't have the capacity to do it themselves.
And it's so hard, especially when you're way deep down in Southern Oregon and the Applegate Valley. It's still, it's 30 minutes to Medford or something from that area. And to think about that you have to cover the entire state of Oregon, with sales and being on top of it. And I've done it. I left from Medford for 2 years before I figured y'all's company out. I was driving from Medford to Portland every single week. And then, I'd go to Bend every other week and the coast on the other weeks. And it was literally killing me. And, when I found out about you guys, I was just like, I remember Jay from White Tie Farm was the one that like finally brought me. I've heard of y'all, of course, but like he had brought me down there and I met some of the team. I think it was Katie, who now is at Apex, and Leslie. And I was just really impressed. And then I think 3 months later we were working together. And then 2 months after that, I moved up here. And I was like, sick of eating.
I got to tell you that I think that people who have grows and the brands and the processing are heroes. Mm-hmm. It is not easy to be in this industry at all. There's not one aspect. And for those of us that I really think have been in the rec market from the beginning, as COVID hit and as all of this, there was a time of PTSD from that 2018 market. So I think the resiliency of the individuals in this market are extraordinary, and especially the growers.
Yeah, especially because as we were having a discussion a couple of weeks ago, it really always trickles down to the growers. When there's problems in the industry and the money gets tight, it ends up always going to the growers who are kind of get the bottom end of the stick, which sucks. But I feel that is in all industries because the farmer is the person, whether it's weed or food or whatever they're processing, the farmer is the one who eats it because they're at the beginning of the source. And it's so important to try and take care of those relationships and those farms, and so make sure that they're here. Yeah, you remember 2018, and I think we're on track for another 2018 right now.
We're in the middle of it.
Yeah, we sure are. And how are you dealing with it? I'm like, I'm getting a bit of that PTSD again, and I'm trying to be cool about it. And I just remind myself each morning when I get up to go to work, I'm like, all right, we're in another year where stuff's kind of tough. So just deal with it and get through it and don't let it bother you too much.
One of our team members, Andy Love, came up from California. He's been with us almost a year now. Very grateful for him, but he's a great forecaster. Mm-hmm. And we were in the process of acquiring a building down in Medford so that we could have 2 locations. And he looked at it with me And then we sat down at coffee, and he looked at me and he goes, Leiann, the market is about to crash, and you need to be aware of it. And this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
This is not the time. I would not recommend that you make this investment. And so my gut said, believe him. And I will tell you, he thought it was going to happen in August to September. The crash hit in July.
Yeah.
And so we've been dealing with this slow, but it allowed us to be a little proactive. It allowed us to do everything we could to kind of be even more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
We work with these brands on the distribution or fulfillment side. We have these 37 brands. Each of them have their own sales team. So my team of 4 deal and work with probably 20 to 30 salespeople, all for different brands. And so it comes down to building out those efficiencies and having the drivers and the vehicles. Distribution is very capital driven, but we know we're saving brands money.
Yeah.
We know that we're taking up the fuel cost. Even if we have to increase prices, we can increase them incrementally and still not be able to save money, for our brands and have it consolidated. But that's the only thing we can think of. It's like, we'll get through this. We got through 2018. We're doing great. The team's doing great.
That's right. And y'all are busy as ever. As
so busy
this time of year. It's nuts. It's crazy to watch. You come into your facility. Yesterday I came and dropped off a little stuff, and it's so busy, and there's so many working parts, and there's so many people. You have a great team of people who are just go, and it's nuts. I mean, it's a lot of work. People have no idea what it's like for 38 different, to fulfill 38 brands orders. And, I know we're dropping, 5 to 10 orders, every few days here and there. And I mean, and we're not even one of your biggest accounts. So I can only imagine, the amount of work and effort and time that it takes to accomplish these goals for all these companies. And it's such a good service that you're doing for so many people. And people, that's another thing people don't really understand is your company is getting, 70 something brands to the dispensaries. I mean, that is huge. That's insane. And I mean, it's not easy work. So what's the toughest thing for you about this business?
Forecasting.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line, I will say I wouldn't be doing anything else. I absolutely love working in this industry. I love the people. I have fallen in love with the folks that are in this industry, and I'm grateful that they've accepted me. But forecasting and really understanding, in other industries, when you go out and you do your pro forma, you do your forecasting, you're looking at what the prices may be. And when you go and you look and say, we're exceeding our volume from a year ago, but our revenue is down 47%.
Mm-hmm.
How do you
fix that?
How do you fix that when your volume is increasing and you're working in a market, for lack of a better word, that's always been an export market.
Yeah.
And yet, what I think did I read somewhere 70 to 80% more production than in 2019.
Yeah.
And yet we're not, federally legal.
Yeah.
Or we don't have interstate agreements. So there's a lot that needs to change. So for me, it's really the focus on interstate.
Yeah. Interstate sales. Where do you see Oregon being in that, how far away do you think we are from actually seeing something like that realistically?
It's funny. If someone's optimistic, which I get that a lot from folks, I used to be.
Yeah. Then you became a realist.
Then I became a realist. They're saying within 2 years.
Yeah.
I believe it's closer to 5 to 8. And
that's what I think.
I think that there is opportunity for interstate compacts if we can get a response from the DOJ, if we can get the governors to go out and write a letter to the DOJ to say, what's your opinion?
Yeah.
Give us your opinion. And then in Nevada and Nevada and Oregon, or Nevada and California, or any what we call consumer states, partnering with the producer states, so that we can create that import-export state to state. And I know there's complexity. It's not that simple.
Yeah.
There's a lot of complexity to it.
It'd be nice. Oh, I was tapping your foot. It'd be nice if it was a little more simple and just, it is, because we are an export state. That is a really good way to say it. Oregon, when I tell people about the Oregon cannabis market, I always joke. I'm like, well, selling weed in Oregon is like I guess what it'd be like to try and sell cocaine in Colombia, because it's like, well, this is where it's made at, and we already got it. And everybody in Southern Oregon, when I was down there, everybody either works in the industry or their cousin or they grow in their backyard, and everybody's got just pounds of weed in their house. Like everybody, even people who have nothing to do with this stuff, they just go, oh yeah, you can go outside in Southern Oregon in Medford and just go, hey, I need 100 pounds of weed. And like 3 people will come over like, yo, I got you. And that's what you're dealing with. And so, shipping it out of here, getting it to the highest bidder, I think is what this industry needs. Because as you know, you deal with so many, different companies. I mean, in other states, they don't allow this many companies. They have a fixed amount of licenses, and only, the big corporate people can get in. But this state, I mean, as you know, it's craft, and it's so many unique individuals and personalities. And you get to meet so many of those. Who are some of your favorite people that you like working with out there? Some real, I know
you're number one, Ramsey.
Well, thank you, Leiann.
We've worked with a lot of brands, and all amazing people. It's a shout out to Mandy at Synergy Skin Works. She is the founder of Oregon's Finest.
That's right.
And she's done amazing work. I'm an avid fan of their patches and what they're doing. I have to admit that I am a topical and CBD, guru. That's good. Yeah. That's my jam. But their patches are fantastic, and they've been a great working partner since 2017. So we're thrilled to be a part of that. Oh my gosh, I could go down our list of all of the folks. Millerville is a huge partner. Matt and Rhea, down south, are fantastic. Aaron and Britt, Lion Tree. Yeah. We love working with them, and Will at Sterling Gold. There's just some amazing partners. There's a wonderful indoor farm, Northwest Artisan Coalition, women-owned and run and founded, and they're amazing. And we've been working with them. In fact, I got a random call through our website from Denise in 2018 saying, I want to work with women. I only want to work with women. I heard that you're a woman. And she meant to say a woman-owned company. And we've been working with them since 2018. And so it's fun.
That's awesome.
There's just some amazing people.
And y'all are a women-owned and pretty much managed company, aside from Mr. Andy Love. I mean, the leaders at the Dub are all women, and it's really
a very
cool.
Diverse environment. That I come from an HR recruiting background, and we've been lucky that we have found an extraordinarily qualified, unique folks. Leslie Gonzaga, she's the manager and does heads up the operations on the logistics and fulfillment side of the house. And she comes, she managed her own dispensaries. She's done intake. She has the knowledge. Her ability to do 5 million things at once and do it well is fantastic. And she has put together a great team. Sadie Kasaka, who does all of the scheduling.
Yeah.
And works and manages the drivers that are all over the state, manages the vehicles to make sure that they're all running the way that they're supposed to be running. And then we have Andy, who is head of sales, director of sales, and also director of strategy and vendor relations on the sales side of the house, and really curating that menu and bringing in amazing brands monthly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool team.
Yeah, it really is. I feel so privileged to know everybody and be in the mix and watch y'all do your thing. It's very cool. I don't know how anybody else could do it, because it's tough. I mean, like I just think about what y'all do, and then I'll hear, stories. Yeah. For example, I mean, just you never know what's going to happen. Didn't like one of your drivers get hit by a turkey the other day, right? There's a turkey incident happened down in Southern Oregon.
In Cave Junction area, a turkey hit the windshield. Thank goodness it hit the passenger side and not the driver's side. But, it's typical. We need that transit van, right? Yeah. And we have another driver who was supposed to drive it to Ontario today. Oh. We didn't want it to go that far because we don't know about the efficacy of the window, but we can't get it in to replace until April 12th.
Oh my God.
So it's but we have to keep on going.
Yeah. The people don't understand. I mean, the day-to-day things that just pop up, you're probably same as me. You'll drive into work with like a list of things that you have to do. And as soon as you touch your desk, everything from the day starts happening, and then you get swamped, and it's just crazy stuff. Yeah, it's always something. It's never a boring day in the cannabis
We
industry.
had that, we had half of our core team was out absent at the same time unexpectedly about 2 weeks ago. And if it weren't for the fact that our team is cross trained, I think our company would have closed
Oh my God.
for
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
week.
That is.
It is. And we looked at each other and said, wow, this is really stressful, but it's not boring.
Yeah. That's the truth. Yeah. Keeps you on your toes. Y'all did had two of your main people in there, and you had to, weren't you like, God? And that's another thing, y'all out there listening. This is a real leader here, Miss Leiann. I just got to tell y'all, because, and she's a real boss and the CEO, but when things get tough, she's out there doing the deliveries, out there, in the, doing the intake and putting orders together. I mean, you do it when time gets tough. You step up and handle it, and I respect that, because a lot
Thank
of
you,
people will just
Ramsey.
be like, "Oh shit, no, my employees aren't here," and sometimes I feel like that. I'm like, "Oh, well, Sabrina's not here to do it today. It's not getting done," and it's but if something needs to get done, Leiann makes sure of it. I mean, I remember, when we you were picking up our stuff a few weeks ago, and we started adding the tags on there, and then of course, you were the one that picked it up, and she was like, "Oh, Ramsey's got to put these damn tags on there." I was like, "Oh man," telling Leiann, we're having to adjust these tags, and I was like, "I can't believe that you were the person down there. You drove all the way to Southern Oregon just to pick up the stuff. That's man, that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot
But
of work."
when you make commitments, so we know that we're an extension of the brands we work with.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that. And so if you've made commitments to fulfill orders, we have to follow through on that commitment.
Yeah.
Because that's the commitment we've made to you. So
Exactly.
It is all hands on deck.
It is, and that's what's so cool, and that's why I love working with the Dub, and I'm proud to work with you guys. And I think that if you have a cannabis company out there, you'd be a fool to not at least check out what they got going on. But maybe you might need to hire a couple more people to bring on some more people.
We just hired someone.
Oh, nice! Congratulations,
Jason.
And nice. Well, shout out Jason. Do some good work with everybody, and we appreciate you. Well, that's good, because it is. Yeah, I go over there and I'm just like, oh man, I'm glad I don't work here sometimes, because it is. But the people you have working for you are solid, and I feel like you do a good job of vetting people before you bring them in. I've learned that from watching you do that, and sometimes I'm just like, hey, I need a packager. Come on, you seem like a nice guy, and I don't check their references, and I don't do all that, and it's bit me in the butt more times than it hasn't. And just watching how you guys do things, I learn a lot from you, Leiann, and I appreciate it, because I don't have a lot of people to kind of show me the way. And you have a background that has transitioned really well into what you do, and what you do is really badass. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, to take all these companies and put them together and then streamline to all these shops across the state, it's just so much. And on behalf of everybody that works with y'all, I'm gonna thank you very much for doing it, because you said you literally probably saved my life, because before I had got blood clots, I was driving so much, and right before when 2020 happened, I was like driving myself to death. I had driven to Portland twice in 1 week and Bend, and I was on the coast in Brookings, sitting there just feeling so worn out. And on the way back, I got a speeding ticket in California, so it was like $700. And then I got home, and I was just like completely burnt out. And then a few days later, my legs swelled up, and I had blood clots there. And yeah, I mean, it almost killed me. And so 2 months later, I think I met with the Dub and found out about your services. And then I think by May, we were working with you guys, and by June I was living here, and I changed my whole life up because of this. And y'all have been such a huge part of helping with that. So it really, it's very sincere, and comes from a special place when I appreciate you guys, because I really feel like that. Y'all saved me, and I'm still on the road more than I want to be, but I'm so grateful for y'all's business, and keep up the great work. You're doing such a wonderful job.
Thank you.
No problem. And before we get out of here, I know we're talking about the Dub. So where we talked about opening up the borders, and that's where we need to go. But what is your goal for the future for the Dub? Where are you trying to take this thing?
Originally our goal was to have 2 or 3 warehouse locations in the state to save money, to be more efficient. And that was really our goal. And with, the federal legalization was, this pipe dream, down the road.
One day.
And so what we did is we sat down when the crash came and said, how are we going to really do this? How are we going to do it so that we're prepared? So our goal now is really strategically getting set and being really resilient, and making sure that we're setting ourselves up for success so that when we can expand, we are ready to
Yeah.
do it. And you're right. We've tripled our footprint since 2017. So that's awesome. But the more you grow, the more you bring in.
Yeah.
And so we believe that in the next 2 years we'll be full again and have to figure it out. So we really are working now on that wonderful thing of trying to figure out how to buy property in the cannabis industry so we can have our own space. But really, for me, it's about creating national relationships within the cannabis industry in other states, because I believe that the cannabis industry is going to, in some ways, follow wine distribution. Storage is the same, very similar with cold storage. Not only the solventless products, but also just the temperature of flower needs to be stored in it at a controlled environment, and the way that it's transported, everything else. And so for me, it's about national relationships and making sure that we have a network in place so that when it does go legal, we have the ability to immediately pull the trigger.
Nice. That's really smart. I think that one day it will happen someday. And sounds like you'll be at the forefront. And I hope to be standing right there next to you. It's
Me too.
Yeah, it's a cool industry, whole lot of fun. And Leiann, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Just hanging out today with Optimo Ram. Y'all tune in every week where we talk to people in the Oregon cannabis industry about the real deal and what's really going down out here. So Leiann, the Dub Wholesale, y'all make sure to follow them on the Instagram at the Dub PDX, and stay tuned for more. We're keeping it funky. And remember, if it ain't local, it ain't live. Support local artists and businesses. Peace.